G'day and welcome to another episode. My name is Daethstro, the Aussie Geek, and today we are looking at the Age of the Primes, Robots in Disguise 2001 Sky-Byte. He is the only RID 2001 character I've got. I had plans to get the Omega Prime, which I'm kind of glad I didn't because everybody's just breaking. So I'll wait for a third-party option if that ever becomes a thing. I also do know that I can't remember what character it was. Came out Sideburns, I think it was. I never got him, but I really, really, really wanted Sky-Byte because I absolutely love Sky-Byte. Also, maybe if they ever do a Ruination using the Bruticus mold, maybe I'll get that too. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So here is Sky-Byte. And of course, he's a shark. I was using his weapon to prop him up a little bit. He does look very good. He looks very cool. And I was so happy when they announced that they were going to do Sky-Byte. Now, I admit usually I start in robot mode, but obviously I keep him in shark mode. So we're starting in shark mode. The details are lovely. Looks absolutely amazing. And I put it to you, apart from Sky-Byte and Waspinator, what other characters from the other Transformer franchises do you think are goofy as those two? Because honestly, I can't really think of a lot of other characters. So he does have some articulation in this mode. His fins do move, although they get plugged in. He actually uses his elbow joints to actually have a tail flip. I think it's a little bit more one side than the other, but I could be imagining things. Of course, you can twist his tail if you want, and if you really, really want to, you can leave these out and give him more of a propeller tail. His jaws do open a fair bit and close all the way, although it does kind of make it hard to get back out. Now, there is one thing I've only recently realized, relearning how this guy transformed. I've had him for probably about a month or two now. You can pull out this piece, which is the top of the head, and make it look like he's looking down. So if I tilt the camera up a bit, he can look more like that, which is kind of cool. Not in the instructions, but yeah, pretty cool. Also, another thing that's not you really have to pay attention to, if you look at this eye, he's all sort of super grumpy. Although if you turn it around this way, you notice his eye is more of a look. As for his weapon, it does have two tabs here. You have two tabs here, so you can slide that into there. And now he has missiles / lasers. I can't remember what exactly his weapon was. I didn't watch a lot of RID growing up, but I was aware of it. Just enough to know that his version of Megatron, I think it was it Megatron, Galvatron? I'm pretty sure it was, might have been Galvatron, had like 10 modes, and I will be shocked if we ever get that version of Megatron at all in the main lines. All right, let's get this guy transformed before we worry about articulation. So, as this guy comes in robot mode, obviously I'm going to switch it back, but just be aware that if you're doing this from purchase, it's going to be a little off. So we want to untab here a little bit, and you sort of want to, it's easier said than done. There's sort of a wiggle. This piece pops out a little bit, so just sort of wiggle it out as far as it'll go. Same on the other side. It does tab in, but it's more noticeable when you tab it in, not unplug it. All right, so next we are going to, we'll do the back end here. So this tabs in really, really well. There's a tab on this side, there's a tab on this side, and a tab here. So if you can get the sides sort of untabbed, well, that one come off, and just sort of get in there and untab that. We'll just leave it out for the moment. Bring these down a little bit. The head does sort of grab in place. So when you flip up, it's not going to feel too good, but once you're used to it, you'll be fine. Now, the back of his legs, which you'll see better later, tabs into the top of the shark. So you sort of get your fingers in there and separate it. Just a matter of finding where to put your fingers. So there we go. And that frees up his legs. All right, so what we are going to do is we won't bother splitting the legs just yet, but there is tabs in his upper legs which go into the back of his shins. So just slide them down, both, and it just double hinges back, then push all the way in as far as they'll go. We can split our feet, which tab in very, very well. And what you want to do is you want to hold the heel and push up where the teeth are, and you'll feel like click, like there. You'll also hear it, ironically. So there you go. All right, so now we've got all this. So what we're going to do is we will double hinge, or whatever you want to call it, the shark head up. Yeah, we should be able to get that done. So sort of flip it up just to get a bit of clearance. Now we need to get these arms done. So you're going to untab the arms, tab here, and fist goes in here, and fold down, fold down. Now, I think I've said it before, I am not a fan of sliders, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to rotate his shoulder pads back, just to give us a bit of clearance. Beg my pardon. Now, this one slides forward, so it'll be back, slide forward. And if things aren't in the way, that will tab in there. The other one will slide back. And if things are not in the way, we'll tab in there. This one does not tab in as strongly. Now you have the head. You have a tab in here. I don't know if you can see it. I'll use Scavenger's Horn. You have this tab here that goes in there, but you've also got these two tabs that are going to go into just up in here. So it's a matter of getting them up there. So what I want to do, and you do have to sort of push things past things, so beware. We need to get that all spun around. It's probably easier if you bring the head back down first, but that's all right. All right, so we want to sort of flatten it out, flatten his shoulders out. So that'll go forward. Now this is the hard part, is trying to get these up in the back. So it's a matter of trying to get your fingers in the right spot to tab it in. I don't think I've got it. You sort of have to push up and in, which is easier said than done. It'll be like this when it first comes out, and my shoulder just untabbed anyway. I think I got it. Yep, I got it. So I'll turn that light off. We don't need it now. As for the shark head, like I said, you want this up here. Now this is a little fiddly, but you have this tab here. So I might as well turn the light back on again. You have this tab here, and they have to tab into, and I'll move it out of the way a little bit, this tab here. It's on both sides of the shark head. So you need to sort of push them in as far as they'll go. The shark head's going to angle back, and you need to do your best to line up and fold in like so. So it's not, the shark head's not going to sit flat. It's going to stick out a little bit. Turn that off. All right, as for almost finished, we can rotate his kibble. This does move up out of the way if you need to. You might notice my shoulders untabbed again. Do that, rotate that. Of course, we can rotate our bicep. I prefer this on the inside, and we can bring his blade thing down. We can then rotate the other arm. We can flip down the hand, and my right shoulder is a little bit stiff. There is Sky-Byte in his robot mode. And I so love Sky-Byte. I really, really love Sky-Byte. Like I said, I haven't watched a lot of RID 2001, but I've watched enough of that. I love Sky-Byte. His goofiness, his poems. I think he used to say poems. Honestly, out of all of them, if I could only have one RID figure, it would have been Sky-Byte. He does look pretty good. Obviously has quite a bit of kibble. I'm not quite sure if that's show accurate. I want to say no, but I'm not 100% sure. But his transformation works really, really well. It really does. Now, when you get this out of the box, these will not be plugged in. You have to plug them in. Of course, the weapon comes separately, and he comes in robot mode. So all things considered, really, really cool. And that head sculpt, if I can do it without being completely unfocused. Focus. How is it? I have something close and you won't focus yet. If it was all the way back. There we go. Yeah, he looks really, really cool. Really does. I don't think his teeth really point out as much as they really should, but it's pretty cool. So there we go. Of course, he can hold his gun. I won't put it in place because for whatever reason, mine's really tight. And once I get in, I can't get out. So it just plugs in there and, of course, holds it. But you do have weapon storage on the shark mouth. And I don't know how I'm going to show this because I didn't obviously put it in during transformation. But from what I understand, you have these little gaps. And I want to say it's this way. Easier said than done. Let's see if I can actually line these up. Or is it the other way around? I'm not sure. All right, this is going to be too fiddly. But basically you have these two pieces here. They will go into the grooves, and that holds that in his shark mouth. All right, let's get down to articulation. Also, I'm thinking of it, there's not really 5mm ports. I suppose you got that one there. There's none there. You do have these. Oh, that reminds me. These also come separate, and you can use them as weapons. So if you really, really want to, I don't know if that was a thing that he did. But of course, you have 5mm ports on those. And as you can see, you don't need to deconstruct. I don't know why I was thinking deconstruct. You don't have to detach these for transformation. Those are for the weapon. So yeah, not really much in the way of 5mm ports, and I'm not seeing any mini-con ports, so take that for what it is. Head can do a full 360, can look up a little bit, can look down a little bit. Let me lift the camera up. Now these in robot mode. It's not a ball. I don't think it's a ball joint. I think it's a mushroom peg or something, because there's really nothing left or right, which is disappointing. You could try to get a bit of sass out of it. Obviously, his shoulder kibble can spin, lift, and of course, completely detach. As I said, it comes like that in box. So there we go. Arms can do a full 360. You may have to angle things to get past things, but it does. Goes up that far, same on both sides. Like I said, if I do the other one, my joint detaches. So, like I said, that one's a lot stiffer. We have upper bicep rotation. We have elbow bend that way, but it's only on this one. We have elbow bend that way too, which of course allows for, actually no, it is both on both sides, because that allows for your tail flap. We do have wrist rotation on this one. Of course, you can angle those claws however you wish. This also has wrist rotation. It's actually up here. So if your tail doesn't quite want to line up, that's why. And of course, this one has in and out. We do have waist rotation. I keep popping that shoulder. It's on a peg, it's on a pin, so I can't quite really loosen it. Leg goes up that far. Leg goes back that far. If you probably move the shark head, you'd probably get further. Leg goes out that far. We have upper hip rotation. It's actually up here, which is pretty cool, and actually does almost a full 360. So there's that. We have knee bend, and I just untabbed my knee. That gets you that far. If you really want to, there's that too, but yeah, that's not actually where it's supposed to be. There's no joint there either. You have a crazy ankle tilt because the ankle's up here, not down here. You can, if you unpop that, you can get toe down and, of course, pop back into place, and his heels do not move. So there we go. And make sure I've got everything where it's supposed to be. My ankles are probably wonky now that I moved it. Have I got these foot all the way up? Yep. I think it's the knee that I haven't quite got situated. So there we go. So size comparisons. Here he is with MP10. I thought about getting Megatron, and I'm like, nah. So if we go from the top of his shoulders, which I suppose is technically his head, he's probably about almost up to the height of Prime's windscreen. If we go from the top of his fin, he's definitely up to his collar. So there we go. Right, let's get him into shark mode again, and obviously everything is just backwards. Now you can, if you want to, fold this down, but I don't like the gap, so it's going to go back up. We're going to rotate these this way just for now, just to make it a little bit easier. We won't worry about any of the legs yet, but what we do need is we need this backpack and everything untabbed. So you're going to untab here. Like I said, you don't have to detach these, but if they're getting in your way, go right ahead. Then we want to reach under here because we need to get those two tabs untabbed. And it's just a matter of finding the right spot. I found it. And of course, pull back. And that will untab his head. Like so. All right, let's get these arms done. So this one has already untabbed on me. This one I actually have to put a little bit more effort into, and then I have to get that shoulder back where it was. All right, so as I said, this one went forward, that one went backwards. So this one's going to go up and back. And we want to rotate at the bicep, so we have the hole at the front. We want to bend the hand here. We want to slide this forward, rotate at the bicep, and then it's just a matter of lining things up. You have this port here, we have this tab here. So put them together and make sure that hand goes in the hole. If things are not quite lining up, it may be this wrist that's not quite right. All right, then make sure your shoulders are nice and straight, because the only thing tabbing these together are these 2 points, and of course, fit the tail how you need it. All right, we'll do his legs next just to get them out of the way. So we're going to pop those tabs, which I'm not quite sure where they are. They're there somewhere, but I'm not quite sure. And we might as well flip up the legs. So we have this tab here, which is actually goes into the shin, is going to go into the thigh. So like so. It should have a nice click. And then the same on the other side, up, and it should be a nice click. Yep. Then we can bring these together, and then you want to intersect the feet and tab them together. And as you saw at the start, they are very tight. And then we can just straighten all that out. Now we need to get all this kibble in place. All right, so I'm just trying to think how I can do this without having to flex things too much. So I'm just sliding these pieces out as far as they can go. So I'm just going to bring them down a little bit. There we go. So that way they're in a slightly better spot than what they were, and we'll just bring these down. We'll see how this goes. All right, so we have these 2 tabs that are going to go into these 2 ports. So bring that all the way forward and make sure they line up nice and tight. They clicked in nicely that way. And where are you? There we go. I think I got that one. So they're nice and snug. Make sure his head's where it's supposed to be. We'll just move these out of the way for the moment a little bit, because I want to get these pieces in place. So make sure things are nice and straight. You have these pegs here are going to go underneath the arms. So I think it's, which one is it? I think this one goes in easier for me first. So it's just a matter of lining them up, and then they'll go sort of in an angle. So that way, that one, pop that right off. Get back on there. So it's just a matter of finding where it is. It's all feel work, honestly. So I think I've got that. Just give it a push to make sure it's compacted. And we do the same on this one. It's all about feeling, honestly. It sounds weird, but it really is just all about feeling. All right, I've got that in there. I just want to sort of move it around, and there's a tab here that goes to the port here. Now, that's not quite in place, so something is not quite, yep, this side was not tabbed in far enough. So, nice squeeze, and that's all where we want it. Now, we might as well get these in place first. So we're going to bring it around, make sure this is out, and you have, and I'm trying to figure out where they are. So, I don't know if you can see it. Oops, sorry. There is a tab port here, and you will have a tab here. That's going to go into there. So basically what you want to do is push this piece in first, line it up best you can, and then hopefully, and I think that's actually gone in. So bring this down, flatten it out, and I think I've actually tabbed that in. I think I've got it in, sort of. They really don't go very much further, because once they're flattened, there's nowhere to go anyway. And then, of course, you can bring this down. Now, I've never quite worked out where this locking point is. I've heard it's here, inside the jaw. Sort of sits over here, but I think it might actually be this piece and the back of the ankles. But either way, it locks in place. So as long as that's all straight. So that goes in. And, of course, make sure things are nice and secure. Squeeze it if you need. And there is Sky-Byte back in his beast mode. And what a beast mode it is. Oh my god, how I wanted it for so long. Honestly, Age of the Primes give me a lot of what I've been looking for. I can't think of what the last line was that actually had me buying a lot of figures. Might have been Power of the Primes, I think. So there you go. But yeah, you can put your gun in there. Obviously, while you're transforming it, make sure you've taken the gun out of the head, because I think that's going to get in the way of other things when you get into beast mode, so make sure you've taken that out. So there we go, and he does have a tendency to lean on my table, which is why I had the gun just sort of sitting under here, just to straighten him out a bit. So we can do a size comparison. Here he is, and I'll lift the camera up a little bit because he is quite long, honestly. There he is with Windblade. So from nose to nose, he's easily a tail longer than what she is. So there we go. I don't really have him displayed how I want to, because I'm still trying to figure out how I want to display him. But yeah, it is pretty cool. Also, I just realized he's got a scar. He's got a scar through that eye. Doesn't have it through the other one. He's got an eye. He's got a very small eyebrow on that one. But yeah, I didn't realize he actually had a scratch or scar through that one. So there we go. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. I promise you it will not hurt my feelings. Subscribe, ring that bell, leave me a comment. And apart from that, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.